What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here. Hey man, I know a lot of y'all probably made some New Year's resolutions. You're looking for some big changes to come in 2023. And one of the music industry's biggest leaders, Sir Lucian Grainge, is on that same wave, man. He just put out an open letter to the music industry and to the UMG empire to let them know what to expect, or some points of contention, I should say, that he's bringing to the industry in 2023. And one of the biggest targets in his scope is streaming royalty payouts. Now, we've been talking about the lack of equitability in streaming payouts for years, since 2011, 2012, since it was invented, really. We've been seeing incremental growth here and there, but nothing to call home about by any means. But he looks like he's coming out swinging. He says, what's become clear to us and to so many artists and songwriters, developing and established ones alike, is that the economic model for streaming needs to evolve. As technology advances and platforms evolve, it's not surprising that there's also a need for business model innovation to keep with the change. There's a growing disconnect between, on one hand, the devotion to those artists whom fans value and seek to support, and on the other, the way subscription fees are paid by the platforms. Under the current model, the critical contributions of too many artists as well as the engagement of too many fans are undervalued, right? It's too much money in circulation for the artists to be feeling deprived, and it's too much money in circulation for the fans to be feeling like they're unfulfilled by the music they're getting. So in this letter, he's actually attacking the pro rata payout system. Now, what is the pro rata payout system? This is what they currently use at Spotify and a lot of the other platforms, where there's one big pot, right? All of the music released in the world gets put into a pot. Whatever your little percentage is that you produce on there, you get paid according to that, right? So if Drake puts out 5 songs, those 5 songs drive 2% of the traffic, to get 1 billion streams or something like that. He's going to get paid accordingly to that. However, some other people in the industry are looking for more artist-centric payouts, right? To where if you put out an album and the majority of your fans are going to each platform and they're playing your music the most, if 75 to 80% of their listening habits consist of your music, you should be getting paid based on their subscription. So if somebody's paying $9.99, $12.99, and they're listening to your music on a monthly basis the most, you should be getting a nice cut of that. Maybe $7, $8, something like that. We'll probably never see that, but we have seen places like SoundCloud and Tidal that are giving out their own version of a fan-powered royalty, you know what I'm saying, to where you are incentivized by having more people listen to you directly. Your top 5 listeners for the month, the majority of their money goes to you. That makes sense. Also in his crosshairs are companies and entrepreneurs who seek to exploit the prorated system for their unjust gain, as well as potentially streaming services who strike direct low royalty rate deals with music production firms and then deliberately push music fans towards this music in an attempt to save money on overall royalty costs. Now, this is something that's a little above my pay grade, but I know that there are publishers and agencies out there that are basically getting songwriters, producers, paying them little baby studio costs, give them $150 up front, have them write songs, create music, get a vocalist on it, and then they go out and take the music, take the publishing cut. They give you a little baby writer share. They take the publishing cut. They go exploit the masters. The masters get millions of spins, millions of plays, and they keep all of that money to themselves. They go out and make millions of dollars, and the people that actually made the music end up getting a couple hundred for their troubles. It's a dirty game out here, man. Don't get played. Let's get back to the letter, though. He says, in order to entice consumers to subscribe, platforms naturally exploit the music of those artists who have large and passionate fan bases. By using the biggest artists in the industry, they use them as calling cards, right? But then they start leading you to some BS music. Let's get back to what he says. But then, once those fans have subscribed, consumers are often guided by algorithms to generic music that lacks a meaningful artistic context, is less expensive for the platform to license, or in some cases has been commissioned directly by the platform. Just witness the thousands and thousands of 31-second track uploads of sound files whose sole purpose is to game the system and divert royalties. The result? A less fulfilling experience for the consumer, diminished compensation flowing to artists that are driving the business models of the platforms, and fewer cultural moments that fans can collectively share, all of which undermines the creativity and development of artists and their music that the platforms were in part designed to foster. He also takes aim at the fact that there's over 100,000 songs being uploaded per day on all of these platforms. Who is going to take the time out to play this music? There's so much information overload with all of this new music, new content, new. You can't even digest the good because everything's moving so fast. Back to the letter. With such a vast and unnavigable number of tracks flooding the platforms, consumers are increasingly being guided by algorithms to lower quality, functional content that in some cases can barely pass for music. He put music in quotations. In the past, music industry conflict was often focused on the majors versus the indies. Today, however, the real divide is between those committed to investing in artists and artist development versus those committed to gaming the system through quantity over quality. The current environment has attracted players who see an economic opportunity in flooding platforms with all sorts of irrelevant content that deprives both artists and labels from the compensation they deserve. He says to correct the streaming payout imbalance, we need an updated model, not one that pits artists of one genre against artists of another, or major label artists against indie or DIY artists. We need a model that supports all artists, DIY, indie, and major. An innovative artist-centric model that values all subscribers and rewards the music they love. A model that will be a win for artists, fans, and labels alike, and at the same time also enhances the value proposition of the platforms themselves, accelerating subscriber growth and better monetizing fandom. Continues. This year, UMG will be working on the innovation that is absolutely essential to promote a healthier, more competitive music ecosystem, one in which great music, no matter where it's from, is easily and clearly accessible for fans to discover and enjoy. An environment where great music is not drowned in an ocean of noise, and one where the creators of all music content, whether in the form of audio or short form video, are fairly compensated. That actually is very appealing to me because if you release music videos, you should be getting paid for those, right? Of course, you have Vivo, you have Tidal, you have Apple Music that have music video capabilities at this point now. You can distribute your music videos to those platforms. Has anyone seen a payout on those yet? I don't know if I have. I've had about 3 videos up for about a year now. I don't think I've seen a royalty off those yet. Maybe it's just me. We'll continue. Achieving such a profound change will present challenges as well as opportunities. I'm confident, however, that our long and deep involvement with music and artists will enable us to safely and profitably navigate our way forward through the industry's next big shift. So for those of y'all that may not be familiar with Lucian Grainge, Lucian Grainge, like I said, is the CEO of Universal Music. So most of the industry labels fall under the Universal umbrella, whether it be Atlantic, Interscope, 300, Def Jam, Cash Money, Republic. All of these companies and so many more are under the UMG umbrella. So he's at the top of the food chain saying some major changes need to be brought down, and I'm finna swing the hammer at y'all. Now, my biggest critique of Lucian Grainge's letter, because I do agree with most of what he's saying, if not all of it, is what is this change and what is going to change within the offices and the buildings that you fund to create this change. Number one, Universal is one of the biggest investors in Spotify, right? So why haven't any changes been made up to this point? And what are you planning to do? Are you going to give them an ultimatum and say, we'll take all of our catalog off of the Spotify platform or all of the different streaming platforms until y'all are willing to change the way that the payouts come? Because we haven't seen any insistence on doing that up to this point. I really highly doubt that y'all are willing to do that at this point. Now, what will be interesting is if UMG takes their money and invests into their own platform or a platform that they can get majority stake in and run it. But I think that would be troublesome too, because then the independent and the DIY artists are going to struggle even more because there's going to be no incentive to push the DIY independent music if Universal has a majority stake. You're already invested in Spotify. You're already invested in SoundCloud. SoundCloud tries to portray themselves like they're really artist-centric. They got money from Universal as well. And then when you start looking at some of these independent agencies, independent companies, and all of the different partnerships and venture capital investments and all of this stuff, the more you start to see that everything is intertwined and interconnected. The people that you think are independent are not. On one end, I really do agree and hope that something is on the horizon, but then on the other, it feels like lip service. I'm not gonna lie. I'm here to be objective. I'm here to give my open critique of everything I come by. So I hope nobody out there feels like my videos are a personal attack on your personality, on your character, on your values. I can only call it how I see it. And I gotta be impartial in order to be objective for the people that are watching this, even if it ain't that many. At some point, more people are gonna see this content. It's gonna be something for them to learn from, and I'm in it for the long haul. Now, one thing I do identify with Lucian is that we're all tired. It's too much music coming out. We're being forced to drop too much music. There's not enough money in circulation despite all of the billions that are in circulation, right? Platforms are growing, but artists are not growing financially. TikTok can grow your brand, but as we can see right now, TikTok is being banned from government buildings. TikTok is being banned from being used on certain universities in America right now. So what happens if a nationwide ban gets enforced on TikTok sometime in the near future and that gets stripped up under artists' feet? What happens then? These are some things you guys got to start thinking about, especially if you're a creator and you're trying to have a career in this. You got to think a couple steps ahead, think a couple years ahead, think about how the tide is changing and try to transform yourself before that happens. You don't want to be on the back end slipping on the banana and trying to figure it out at that point. Now, if you need some assistance, like I say in every video, if you're an artist, producer, songwriter, manager, upcoming label that needs some help, go to realjnolan.com, check out my book, The Pen Game Portfolio Volume 2. It's got all of my techniques that I've been using. Just a couple years ago, I was working 2 jobs, still trying to do shows on the weekends, still trying to do a sync placement here and there. But starting in 2020, I became a full-time artist and content creator. In the last few years, I've seen my music in over 100 different major TV and film projects. I've written songs for hundreds of different upcoming brands, NFT programs, game streamers, individuals. I've made songs to commemorate people's marriages, all types of stuff, man. Whole songwriting business. I'm helping other artists create their songs. And I'm also helping people to get in touch with all of the different royalty collections agencies so that when you release your music, you could be getting all of the money that you're owed. This is vital information. It's going to be in the Pen Game Portfolio Volume 2, and it's going to show you how to grow your own YouTube, how to grow your brand, how to start thinking of yourself as more of a business and not just an artist. At this point in the game, we're music entrepreneurs more so than just studio rats. Again, all that information is in the book, or you can come to me for a direct consultation, also on realjnolan.com. The choice is yours. Much love and respect, y'all. I will see you guys later on the next one. Peace.